Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are back on Pokemon Showdown today for NPL Week 3. We started 1-1, took a kind of bad loss in Week 2, but now we're back with a nice squad for our matchup with AlphaDrops and this Rocky Mountain Marowaks. One of the better players in my league, in the league, in my opinion, and he has definitely a threatening team. Like just if you look at it, it looks kind of wild. He started 2-0 and he's in our division, so it would be nice to tie records with him. Trevor is also like 2-1 now, so we could have a three-team tie for the lead after this week, which would be pretty hype. Definitely an interesting division. Shouldn't be too easy to win it this season. A lot of solid competition in there. But like, if you haven't checked out my team, I uploaded a team builder yesterday. Um, definitely a hype one. I get like dual spikes, lead grand, DD Tailgo Manaphy, Trick Room Uniclus, E-Belt Stunfisk, Max Special Attack, which is kinda cool, and Z Memento Drift Blimp. So my opponent looks to be bringing a very offensive team as well. I didn't really expect that. I thought he would bring like more of a balanced squad because like looking at his team, he has nothing for +1 Zard. Unless it's like Scarf Chomper or like really max defense Tapu Fini, in which case like I can just DD up on it and 2 KO with Thunder Punch or something. So it's like not the best way to deal with a +1 Zard in my opinion. Especially if I get up the toxic spikes and can wear it down. So um Zard definitely a big win con in this game. Manaphy also looks clean even though like it doesn't outspeed a lot of stuff. Like 4 mons on his team outspeed Manaphy, but I can always take a hit or two and get like at least 1 kill if I get up the free Tailgo, which I can easily do with the pressure spikes and T spikes will put on my opponent. And obviously I can always Z Memento back with the Grifflin. So like when I built the team, I knew I wanted to lead Greninja 100% of the time, regardless of what my opponent is bringing. So that's what I'm going to do. Looking at team preview, it's probably like a bulky Spadef um, aggro because he doesn't really need first dev on it. It's probably like Specs or Life Orb or Ebel, Jolteon. AV Tornadus probably looks to be his best mana check. I really thought this was gonna be Scarf Chomper just because he doesn't really have a check to a +1 Zard X. Defensive Tapu Fini, I reckon, as a switching for Gran and Zard, obviously, to take at least one hit. And I really expected a bulky Quiver Dance Roost Volcarona, maybe HP Ground, and then like, and what's it called, and Flamethrower or Giga Drain HP Ground Flamethrower. I don't really know. Like it was like I felt like Volcarona was tough to predict because he basically needed 4 move slots to hit everything on my squad for a good amount of damage, and like it's just not gonna happen if you run Cooler Dance. But yeah, my thoughts heading into this game were like Zardex can easily win, Uniclus can easily win because nothing OCOs, and I can even take a max special attack Bug Buzz from full from the Volcarona, and um, with Trick Room up, Renotus and actually Stunfisk too can put in quite an amount of work, which is pretty nice. So I lead with Gran here, trying to get up my spikes, as he leads with Aggron. I don't want to get up rocks, let him get up rocks turn 1, so because like Zard is still in his regular form and I don't want to take 50% because I don't have a roost on there. Um, so I taunt turn 1, which in my opinion was a misplay, probably, but like obviously I can't risk rocks, but I should have predicted Tapu Fini to come in because like my opponent doesn't really want to take a not +1, but a Specs or Life of Hydro Pump from Gren or a Scald or something to let his Aggron get burned because like then he loses a mon that or then he loses a check to Zardex and Manaphy because Aggron, if it's like invested correctly, can always take a +1 Flare Blitz from Charizard and can always take a +3 Surf from Manaphy if it's specially defensive. So um, I should have predicted him to want to switch out into Tapu Fini because like he can't lose a check to my 2 biggest threats turn 1. Aggron also checks a Karma and Uniclus quite well if it attacks the Raw, so um, what I should have done was getting up a T-Spike, but I taunt just because I don't want rocks up on my side. My opponent actually goes to Tapu Fini, so if I T-Spike there, my plan would have been better. I go for a taunt. Now I'm getting up my toxic spikes. Not gonna lie, had I not been focus sash, that would have worked out better for me as I'm going to set up a spike on this next turn as he kills me off with the Moonblast. And the taunt ends on this turn, and I was like, well fuck, I thought like taunt was one more turn. I didn't know like that the turn I used taunt counts as one of the 3 turns. I always thought like taunt would work one turn longer. So like I thought it was like 4 turns overall instead of 3. So now Fini can defog freely, which is kind of annoying. But I go into my Manaphy here because Manaphy either prevents him from defogging because he wants to attack me and gets a chip off, or it gets a free tail off because he has a T-Spike. He could go hard into Jolteon or Torn, which would mean that at least one mon on his team will get hit by T-Spikes, which is pretty nice, like depending on when the Mist Terrain wears off, which would be in 2 turns. So that could work out for me. Like at least some would get spike damage, but I feel like he's kind of forced to defog, so I have a very free tail bow here, which is nice. I can always take 2 or 3 Moonblast here as my opponent actually decides to defog. On this next turn, I really wanted to make a play, but I didn't feel like I needed to. Like I really wanted to click Hydro Vortex here to catch an incoming Volcarona or Tornadus or even an Aggron or something on the switch, but I didn't feel like risking it because like he basically can never go hard Jolteon on any attack because like even Energy Ball would have a chance to kill a +3 because I'm max special attack modest and like it doesn't really matter if I get kind of weakened by a Torn switch or something. Hurricane would do like 40-45%, and that's not too big of a deal because like after second one Jolteon comes in anyway to revenge and I can go from there. So I decided to play it safe, go for the Energy Ball as my opponent actually does switch out into Torn. Had I Hydro Vortex or Ice Beam, would have been a nice play because then it would be tougher for him to revenge me, but I didn't feel like making the play that early. Especially after the first turn didn't work out as well for me with the spikes. I really want to keep up my spikes, but that sadly didn't work. So Torn comes in, I would just go for the safe Ice Beam here, not trying to over predict anything. As he goes for the Hurricane, second is Torn is 45%, so he's definitely invested in special attack. But Ice Beam killed, so that Torn was definitely a AV, but it gave you by the Energy Ball damage. So now Jolteon comes in, and this is basically great for me because Jolteon is forced to go for an electric type attack. He can't over predict versus a +3 Manaphy, so go for like Shadow Ball or HPIs or whatever coverage he has. So I can go hard into my Stunfisk, knowing that he has the Volt Switch, and this is a crucial turn here on this play. Like I feel like there were a lot of plays that would have made sense for my opponent. I'm pretty sure he's locked in. Like Choice Specs just makes a lot of sense with my team. Otherwise, he can't bring Zard. Choice Specs actually ground 2 KOs, but every other hit I can easily take. So in my opinion, he can't stay in. He has like 4 months he could switch into. I don't think he should go Aggron because it could Earth Power on his turn, get it to its 30. And he has shown the tendency of going hard Aggron on Mons, even before Mega Evolving, but I don't think he would do it versus a ground type. I mean, there's no way he's staying in, and he has like Fini as a switch in, Volcarona as a switch in, and Garchomp as a switch in. What I really wanted to do was double into Manaphy, and then like fire off a big attack because Manaphy covered the Tapu Fini switch in, as well as the Volcarona switch in, because like Volcarona can never kill me from the range I was at, even if it's max special attack, unless obviously Life Orb or something. Giga Drain for max special attack timid, which I think he should be because you want to speed tie with Zard at least. Max special attack, but Giga Drain would do 53%, I'm at 55, so that would be nice. Garchomp, if it's Scarf, can't kill me with Earthquake, but or like he needs a roll to kill me with Earthquake, I think. But Fini would also be a nice switch in here. Like it takes the Earth Power, prevents me from getting up rocks because this basically is a turn where I have free rocks, but I don't want free rocks because the rocks actually aren't free versus a team that is so heavily offensive with Garchomp and Volcarona waiting for the free setup here. I kind of want to make the hard read of him going into Garchomp and fire off an HPIs, but I didn't feel like that was the play, so I decided to go for the Earth Power because it like puts Garchomp in range for an HPIs and puts and like gets chip off on Tapu Fini, which is nice. It also it does like 35 to 40, like around that, to a Volcarona if he's uninvested in HP, and like even though Stunfisk is set up for Volcarona, I could discharge Para, and I can always go hard into Zard and get to +1 because Zard never dies to +1 Volcarona, even if he gets off gets off the HP ground on me. So I felt like Earth Power was the safest play, because it hits basically everything for a very solid amount of damage. As my opponent actually decides to go into Tapu Fini. Weakening Tapu Fini is super nice because now like Thunder Punch, if it's max physically defensive, Thunder Punch is a roll to kill now at +1, which is huge. And I like, if I weaken this Fini and burn the Misty Terrain turns, +1 Zard is guaranteed to sweep, basically. I need some chip on Aggron still, but +1 Zard is looking clean. I will fire off a Discharge here because I don't really need too much health on my Stunfisk, because it's like uninvested Surf would do 50% max, and Surf like would put me in range for obviously Chompa's Earthquake, but I'm in range for that anyway. Like besides that, I can still take a Giga Drain from Volcarona. I can still take a Specs HPIs from Jolteon. I can still take a hit from Aggron unless it's Earthquake. So I don't really need too much health on this Stunfisk. So I decided to go for Discharge and guarantee put this Fini into range for +1 Zard. Because with the lefties, I need to like weaken it a little bit more. He misses in Nature's Madness, which is pretty annoying for him, but as I said, I still live any hit that I would have lived from full anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But here I'm free to go for another Discharge. I don't think he would go hard into Chomper. Oh no, I don't go for Discharge here. I'd go for the Earth Power to cover the Chomper potentially if he wants to save it. Save the Fini to potentially get up the Misty Terrain. So I fire off an Earth Power, which is a guaranteed kill on this Fini. As my opponent misses another Madness, that's pretty annoying for him. Like weakening Stunfisk would have been nice because um, then like Jolteon could have a chance to 2-hit KO with like an HPIs or something, which obviously would have helped him a lot, because like then Stunfisk wouldn't be like the safest switching in the world anymore, because like right now I even take 2 HP Ices after from Specs Jolteon after Rocks if he's timid, which is pretty unfortunate for him. So Aggron comes in, which is fine. I know he will go for his rocks. He's trying to pressure Zard. So instead of getting up my own rocks, even though they would help me a lot versus the Volt, I decided to go hard into Zard because I don't want to take 50% from the switch in. So I went to Zard, predicting the Stealth Rocks correctly, which is nice. And I basically have a free Flare Blitz here. I don't wanna Dragon Tail because Dragon Dance, because I know Aggron like has a very solid chance of running Roar or Dragon Tail, because like he has shown the tendency of running Dragon Tail. I think he ran it in at least one, if not both of his battles in the first 2 weeks, and like Aggron, he knows he can take any hit even at +1, so he's very free, or like even an unboosted he can easily take it, so he knows he's free to Dragon Tail and shuffle me around. So I decided to just fire off a Flare Blitz, putting him in range for later, where I can like just kill him with the Flare Blitz potentially, and at +1 I can like still damage. Zard is at 59, which is fine. I get Dragon Tail out into Manaphy. After the rocks now, I sadly am in range for an Earthquake, even from Scarf Garchomp, and like Manaphy like doesn't really look too good versus his team. Like I can kill the Aggron here, which would be nice for Reuniclus to potentially sweep, and like I can't hit anything on the switching, but everything else on the team is now able to revenge me, which makes Manaphy kind of useless. So I just stay in and go for the Surf here in case he wants to switch into something, but Aggron goes down. He probably went for another Dragon Tail to make sure I can't set up for free or something. And he goes into Garchomp. I sack my Manaphy here because, like, as I said, Manaphy is revenged by anything. I didn't want to go hard into Drifblim to take to predict the Earthquake, because like I just don't need Manaphy anymore. Garchomp kills me off with the Earthquake, but that's fine. Manaphy did a hell of a job. Got rid of the Thunderous Therian with Tornado Therian, which would have been annoying for me to deal with, and obviously got rid of the Aggron. So Manaphy goes down, and like here I go into my Drifblim because I'm convinced as fuck that this Garchomp is scuffed, because looking at his team, he doesn't have anything that checks a +1 Zard. Like if he is not scarfed, then I could have potentially set up like turn 3 or 4 if I played my hazards correctly and like just swept, which is crazy. So I decided to go for the Icy Wind here, covering anything that wants to switch, and if he wants to go hard into Jolteon or hard into Volcarona, both of which I would have gotten a Z Memento off, and basically would have guaranteed me the win. Because if I get an icy win off on a Scarf Garchomp, I weaken it, go for the Z Memento, can finish it off with the Dragon Claw, and then like go from there. Because Stunfisk plus because like if he allows me if he lets me kill his Garchomp with my Zard X to just prevent setup, like even after the Z Memento, he could potentially like knock me out or something. he like he needed to like he needed Garchomp to break Stunfisk. That's what I'm saying, because Volcarona and Jolteon can't break Stunfisk from full. Even like if Volcarona quivers up, he needs like 2 quiver dances to knock me out with Giga Drain, and then like I could always go like pivot around on a potential Volk. So if I go for the Icy Wind here, I can 2-hit KO Garchomp, which is nice. And like if he goes Jolteon, if he goes Jolteon or Volcarona, that's guaranteed. That's a guaranteed win for my Zard, because then Zard will guaranteed outspeed. I can get off I can get off a Dragon Dance from full. I would be at 75%, and then like sweep +1, because Garchomp doesn't take +1 Dragon Claw, and Volcarona and Jolteon drop to Flare Blitzes or Dragon Claws respectively. So I go for the Icy Wind here, expecting him to be Scarf and wanna switch out, but he actually reveals to be a Z Crystal user, has the Continental Crush, and yeah, knocks out my Drifloon crit. Obviously did not matter, even though I'm like very bulky, but Drifloon is kind of frail on the physical side, obviously. So Drifloon drops, and I'm like in a bad spot, because like had I known that he's not Scarf, I definitely would not have gone Drifloon, because like obviously I wanted to keep as many sacks as possible, because like Garchomp is just a big threat, especially like with nothing out here outspeeding Garchomp. So that's kind of bad. I'm not sure if I agree with him not being Scarf, because like as I said, +1 Zard X like just absolutely destroys the team. Like absolutely like with little chip on Finny and Aggron, I just 6-0 with Zard, which is kind of crazy. But like after what we're talking to was like, yeah, obviously Scarf would be nice, but I was like, he felt like I was kind of in a 4 move slot situation as well, because like either I've Thunder Punch, so which means I would not have Roost or DD. If I don't have DD, I'm not a threat. If I don't have Roost, I could potentially kill myself with Recall, and he would be able to revenge me at some point, which is smart, obviously. Like it makes sense, but I feel like you gotta have a safety net for a +1 Zard, because like Zard is just a mon. It's absolutely wild. Like it's a pain to switch into, pain to deal with, especially if it like gets up to +1 or 2. So yeah, Driven goes down. I'm forced to go into my Reuniclus here, because I know it can take a hit, and I'm forced to go for Trick Room, but Trick Room actually is nice. I am a very slow Zard. I'm like just enough speed to outspeed a mon that speed creeps my Greninja at +1. So like I'm very certain I'm able to I'm able to outspeed Jolteon at +1, even though I'm like not even though he could be max speed timid, but I don't really see that. So like Trick Room really works for me, because Stunfisk and Reuniclus are obviously slower than all 3 of those, and so is Zard. Like there's no way he's uninvested in speed on Volcarona, because then he's just like he just gets knocked out before being able to do anything to Zard, so that doesn't make sense. So I get up a Trick Room. Here's my opponent switches, which is really nice, so I don't have to like sack my Reuniclus or something. Go for a Trick Room here, fire off a Psyshock to kill the Jolteon, which actually like probably it was if he has like the 36 HP or defense EVs that he should have because of like speed creeping and shit. It probably was a roll, but it was a huge roll in my favor. I think it was like 98% chance to knock it out, which is nice. Reuniclus not being damaged is huge. Now Volcarona comes in. I could 2-hit KO that thing with the Psyshock, but if he Bug Buzzes here, I basically lose to Garchomp guaranteed, which would be dumb. So I need to keep my Reuniclus to guaranteed get up one more Trick Room later. So I decided to go hard into Zard. I don't think he could afford going for the HP ground here, as he does not. He fires off the Flamethrower. Afterwards he told me it was Giga Drain, Flamethrower, Roost, and Quiver Dance, so no chance for him to actually being able to knock me out. So now on this turn, I'm pretty sure I have to game one here now because like Zard guarantees gets one kill. I can like just fire off the Dragon Claw, two KO this Volcarona if it's bulky, or like kill the Garchomp on the switch. In which case like I can get off a Trick Room on the Volk with my Runiculus because I guarantee live one Bug Buzz if he has it. I think I live at least one Flamethrower even at +1. I think I live two from full, like, which is pretty nice, so I can potentially stall it out with Trick Room and recover and side shocks and shit like that. So I can just fire off the Dragon Claw here as my opponent goes for the Quiver Dance, basically sacking it. I don't know if he miscounted Trick Room turns or something, but like it doesn't really matter. Like the 10% chip damage got off with the Flamethrower wouldn't have like made a difference because Chomper would like would revenge me anyway. Flamethrower did actually 10.7%, which means he is absolutely uninvested in special attack, and he got an actual absolute min roll, which is kind of rough, but didn't make a difference because there was no way I was dying to Flamethrower at all. Even the crit wouldn't have knocked me out after the switch. And so Zadex can get the kill here. He reveals to be lefties now. Knock out the Volcarona, and now like Trick Room wears off, but that's fine. I just have to sack like 2 months to Garchomp now. Can let him kill me. Like anything else would have been a choke. Like because obviously didn't have a switch into Rock. Kills me with the Earthquake, picking up his third kill with Garchomp. Now I can go into Runiculus, set up a Trick Room, and win from there because Side Shock into my HPIs from Stunfisk kill. Like that's cool. Side Shock does 60%, which is a lot of damage, and like he knocks out my Runiculus, picking up his 9th kill of the season, which is crazy. And in 3 games, using Garchomp very well, but Stunfisk the god coming through with the clutch kill. There's gonna be GG Itazaki. Definitely a super fun match, and shoutouts to my boys Gypsy King and Zazo, aka Iron Flash Gaming, for like showing me the ways of Stunfisk. Like I was always like kind of doubting the Lord Fisk here, but the two guys they always said like Stunfisk is a great mon, and it definitely came through. Dodged to Nature's Madness, which was definitely unfortunate for my opponent, and like it picked up the final kill here. Now Stunfisk actually has as many kills as Zardex over Zardex has over 3 games, which is wild. But yeah, GG to my opponent. Alpha, he played a very solid game in my opinion. Maybe could have preserved Finny a little longer, but like he needed a sack at this point to my what's it called? I don't even know what knocked out the Finny, but like oh yeah, was Stunfisk. He didn't like couldn't risk switching something hard into an Earth Power discharge, obviously. So I get where it was coming from. So definitely a very solid game. Opponent brought a very surprising team, which definitely caught me off guard. A team preview, was like, yo, where's all the fat stuff? Where's your Miltank? And where's your Hitmontop to check Zard? But like he brought a very offensive team that definitely put in quite some work, and I got lucky that I was able to pull off the winning. But I felt like I played the end game really well. So we improved to 2-1, which is hype. Definitely go and check out Alpha. He's one of my fave guys in the NPL. He's so funny. He's like great guy to talk to. I enjoy him. I enjoy playing him and talking to him a lot. Definitely great player. We will definitely have another solid fight in week 10 or 11. I don't know when we play again. Hopefully for the division title. That would be hype. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and comment if you did, and catch me in the catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.